Sis, between you and me, you've been feeling off, haven't you? Not lazy, just disconnected. You know that you were called for more, but yet your rhythm has just been feeling off. And let me be the first to tell you, girl, I get it, okay? The drifting, the doubting, simply doing all of the things right and ultimately still feeling stuck. And if I'm being real, even with myself, my real issue actually has never been discipline. But what if our issue is devotion? In this video, I am not here to push more hustle. Actually, quite the opposite. What I am really here for is to get us both recalibrated into a new level of existing, into actual rhythm with the Lord. So, I am going to walk you through some epiphanies that I've recently had, and ultimately I'll be discussing how I am resetting my days, also my mindset, because girl, it's been going through the ringer, as well as my mission. And I am doing all of this using the Devoted 90 system so that the second half of this year not only looks different, but it actually feels different. Rooted, rested, and realigned. So if you're anything like me and you have been craving consistency without the burnout, actually glowing up from wholeness and not hustle, and honestly ready to stop ghosting your gift, sis, pull up a seat because this video is just for you. Great day, woman of God. My name is Ebony, and here we talk all things faith-led glow-ups and soft success with the Father. Now, let me get to it. Here is the real story, okay? Devoted 90 was not something that came from strategy, quite the opposite. I developed Devoted 90 from a place of surrender. So what had happened was, girl, I fully intended on doing this video and posting it July 1st, which means that I got a 2-week head start on Q3 so that I could, put my feet to faith, right? What had happened was I got started on the plan that I originally set, only to find myself burnt out, girl. I was burnt out. Like I was tired. Now, mind you, I had just really been on a break, okay? And so how am I actually burnt out from just a little system, from a mid-year reset, right? Okay, listen. I ultimately found myself at this crossroads. I was at a crossroads where ultimately I was semi-burned out from doing the things, from waking up early, from posting content, from journaling. Like, girl, you get it, okay? Now, the thing is that life, as life tends to do, life has been lifing, okay? And honestly, I realized that I was allowing my environment to actually tell me how I should think and feel. And I know better, okay? Like, sis got all the certifications when it come to mindset. Like, girl, I know better, okay? Like, I know better. Now, here is the thing. I want you to know that feeling like this is completely normal. But here's the caveat. When a moment becomes a cycle, we're dealing with something completely different, okay? And the truth is that it's not because you are not trying. It is because you are finding yourself in a state of force rather than authority. I know that's where I was. Which ultimately means that whatever you do, you end up doing it from a space of pressure. And it's no longer from a place of peace. And I don't know about you, but girl, I'm too old. Okay, I'm too old to be doing it. And because of this, I had to get really real with myself. And also, your girl is going to be very real with you as well. You can't say, I am done building without fruit, when this whole time, truthfully, you've been playing patty cake with your purpose. You have been planting with inconsistent hands. And on top of that, you have distracted focus. On top of distracted focus, you have over-perfected planning. You can't say, I'm done playing small and then wait to be affirmed in order to go full force. And you cannot say that you refuse to stay in the same place. I refuse to be here. It's time for me to level up. You cannot say that all the while using old obedience habits, actually thinking that it's going to lead you into a new era of authority. It doesn't work like that. And that is the truth that I had to come to. And the truth is that ultimately, this is not about an aesthetic, okay? This is not about an aesthetic. It's not about an algorithm. It's also not even about self-glorification. Ultimately, the thing that the Lord has actually really been speaking to me is that He is actually concerned. He cares about how we show up in our lives. He also cares about our heart postures while we're doing it, and ultimately the inconsistency of our action. He cares. He cares about the fact that we've been sleeping on ourselves and ghosting our own gifts. And so once I really got still enough to listen, I didn't hear, Eb, you need to do more. You want to know what I heard? Get rooted in devotion. The whisper wasn't just a shift in strategy. It was honestly, it's an invitation. It is a call to really decide to be the kind of woman that really the Lord is longing for us to be. Women who are truly anchored in Him, women who are anchored in truth, being a woman who is clear, who is steady, who is fruitful, who is truly the real Proverbs 31 woman, not the aesthetic, but the authority that she carried. This is not just about a glow up for the sake of a glow up. No, this is ultimately about radiating from alignment with the Father. And this is not about the way culture defines a glow up, which is ultimately about self and truly hustle, if we're being really real, right? You have the 75 hard, you have, even the 40 holy, like, listen, let's be real. It's not really rooted in developing your own rhythm with the Lord. And ultimately, that's what I desire to be, which is why honestly, that is the intention behind the Devoted 90. This is my way of having a sacred reset with the Lord on top of realigning myself with His truth concerning me and actually rebuilding from a place of peace. Not hustle, but from honor, from devotion, from the inside out. As I've been speaking, maybe you found yourself nodding your head like, okay, girl, yes, I am with you. Yup, I can't keep doing this, okay? If that's you, a Devoted 90 is for you because you are a woman who is not new to this. You are true to this, okay? This is not for a beginner per se. This is really for the woman who has been called to build. Now, mind you, Proverbs tells us that a wise woman builds her house, she builds her home, she builds her family, she builds her community, as well as obviously endeavors of her hand. And so that's truly what it is to be a builder. And so if that is you, you are the woman that Proverbs 31:10 calls a woman of strength and mighty valor. Now, the Hebrew word here is actually 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐞, and sis, it is potent, okay? Because it means mighty, excellent, morally righteous. This also means that she was a woman full of integrity, full of ability, wealth, wisdom, and strength. This is the same word that is often used to refer to valiant men of war, which guess what? This means that the Proverbs 31 woman, she's not an aesthetic. No, ma'am. She's a powerhouse. Hello, this is why I be calling y'all powerhouses. She is a powerhouse, okay? She is a powerhouse because she's not an aesthetic. She is a force. She is actually a spiritual weapon, okay? She is a woman of substance and a woman of strategy. She is the woman that carries the presence of God in everything that she finds her hands to do. And girl, don't let me get started on verse 17, okay? Don't let me get started on verse 17, which says, she girds her loins with strength and makes her shoulders strong. This is actually a metaphor for being anointed with the power to do the works of Jesus Christ. This is not performative effort. Nope. This is not even about empty discipline. This is really about true authority. The truth is that many of us have actually been misled. We have ultimately been taught to chase her output and not cultivate her oil. I know, girl, that's a mic drop moment. I can't even lie myself. Girl, okay, listen. We have turned what her rhythm was into hustle. We have measured ourselves by her virtue of routines, but not revelation. And here is the thing. If you read Proverbs 31 closely in multiple translations, do word studies and things like that, you will find that this is a woman, she doesn't strive. She has support. She knows what's in her willed house, what she's truly capable of in the moment, and she goes according to what she has available to her. This is a woman who is actually not hustling to be seen. This is truly a woman who is building from a place of her head being lifted, her eyes being focused on the Father, which means her shoulders are strong. Her shoulders are strong, and her heart is anchored in the Lord. And that is who Devoted 90 is for. It is for the woman who is not here to impress, right? You're not here to impress, but your desire is to truly leave an impact. You want to impact your loved ones. You want to impact your husband, your children. You want to even be an impact on your family, your community. It all matters. It matters because it is all within your sphere of influence. This is an aspect of your personal metron. And so Devoted 90 is for the woman who is done just checking off boxes, right? We're no longer just checking off boxes, and we're deciding to be women who actually move in power. We're choosing to be women who are not focused on being polished as the goal. Our goal is truly to be postured before the Father. So the truth is that Devoted 90 is actually not for the weak. Actually, it's not. It is really for the woman who is honestly a warrior at heart, who is their fierce mama bear, so to speak, right? This is for you if you have been longing to just come home again. This is your Proverbs 31 glow up. Okay, so now you're saying, okay, Eb, I'm with you, sis. I'm with you. Let's do it. Let's go. Okay, I want you to know this is not a challenge. Nope, this is not a challenge. This is honestly a sacred restructure, okay? And this is our time to actually move with purpose and precision. I call this the Devoted to Her planner system because this is actually akin to a 12-week year, but on steroids. Why is it on steroids? Because we're doing it with the Father, okay? Which means we are taking strategy and we are saturating it in the Word of God, okay? We will start with the foundation. I want you to define what devotion looks like in this season. Choose a scripture anchor and identify your personal word or theme for the next 3 months. Because before we build, we must count the cost, just like Luke 14:28 says. Then we move into identity clarity. This is about us establishing 2 things. First, your current persona. And what I mean by this is, who do you believe the Lord is asking you to be in this season? So not the long-term vision that He's given you, but presently, who do you believe God is asking you to be? Next is your next level self. Now, in me saying next level self, what I'm really referring to is, I don't know about you, but I have had glimpses of the woman God is calling me to be. And I know that she has a certain way of operating, a certain way of being. And really what I've done is I've done faith-rooted scripting, okay? And so I want you to write out in detail who she is. And once you have both of these established, I want you to read them to yourself every day for the next quarter, because ultimately you are declaring who you are and the woman that God has called to lead according to Proverbs 23:7. From there, I want you to write the vision. Literally, you'll create goals in no more than 3 areas using a SMART-based OKR system grounded in Habakkuk 2:2. So what do I even mean by OKRs? Okay, so I have been a corporate business analyst. I haven't been in corporate in 2 years at this point. But while my last role in corporate as a business analyst, what I was actually doing was, honestly, I was an unpaid project manager is really what I was. I'm not even going to get into that, okay? But along the way, one of the things that you learn within project management is a goal setting system, which is known as OKR, which stands for objectives and key results. And here, your objective typically is, if somebody asks you, okay, what's your goal? You might say, oh, I want to make more money. That is your objective. It is qualitative in nature, okay? But the key result, you would then refine it into something that is SMART, which is specific, measurable, actionable, relatable, and something else. Like, time bound. Okay. So you would take your qualitative or objective goal of, I want to make more money, and you would actually distill that into something more specific. Okay. So it might be, I want to hit 10K months by the end of this quarter. You might say, I desire to release 15 pounds by the end of this quarter. Ultimately, this is not about you setting goals for the sake of setting goals, okay? Really, your new role is to present your desires back to the Father, to pray over your goals and ensure that what you are pursuing actually align with heaven. Once we write the vision, the next thing that we'll do is actually establish our weekly and our daily rhythms. This is designed to keep you aligned, anchored, and aware of where your focus is actually flowing, whether it's morning devotionals to Sabbath rest. This is about building your life from a place of order and not overwhelm. You track wins, patterns, spiritual insight, all through a progress system. You will keep track of all of your tasks related to your God-aligned goals. And the reason why we want to do this is because you need a visual of your progress, but this is not from a place of guilt. We are doing it so that we can actually see where our focus is going. And this is actually how I ended up not even releasing this video July 1st, because I went through my progress system and I was like, sis, go back to the drawing board. This time, make sure you bring the Lord with you, okay? And last but not least, we are going to do something a little bit unorthodox. We are going to make a devotion covenant, because we are not just setting goals. No, ma'am. We are choosing to be women who agree with heaven and who keep our eyes focused where they need to be focused in this season. So yeah, this isn't a system about doing more or adding more to your plate. Honestly, if anything, it ought to scale some things back for you, okay? Because really, I don't know about you, but I just desire to be a woman who is truly anchored in God, who is anchored in the things that He's called me to, a woman who shows up with clarity, authority, and also peace. Sis, I don't know what your year has looked like so far, but if you have been feeling pressured mentally, emotionally, even spiritually, I want you to know that you are not alone. And guess what? This is your invitation back into alignment, back to a place of peace, and back to your seat of devotion. You are not behind. Truly, you are at a threshold, and God is inviting you to rebuild, but not from a place of pressure, from devotion. This isn't even about starting over. If I'm being honest, this is actually about starting deeper. This is about us choosing to align ourselves to Him again, to the work that He has actually called us to do, to actually be the women He is calling us to be in this hour. And if your spirit has whispered, yes, God, yes, the Devoted 90 is for you. And if I'm real, I know that you are a woman who is not after just looking like a Proverbs 31 woman. You actually want to be a Proverbs 31 woman, a woman who is clear, who actually walks in her authority, a woman who is wrapped in strength and dignity. And I know that you truly desire to lead your life from a place of peace, just like I do, right? We want to lead our lives from power and from our God-given authority, truly, so that we can be effective within our lives and within our world. So let this be your moment. The moment you choose to stop ghosting your assignment, girl, I see you, okay? The woman who chooses to just be done with striving, to be done with shrinking, this is your moment to devote again. Bye for now.